Is Joe Rogan finished? Is Theo Vaughn coming for his crown? These are the things I'm trying to answer, because what happened here is truly bizarre. And we're just going to show you what it is, because I can't believe it. I can't believe that this interview actually happened. And you know what he also did? He had another interview with another politician. The same two politicians that one, Joe Rogan interviewed, and two, is supposed to interview. It was like Theo Vaughn. He made a tactical move. Is he coming for the king? Heavy is the head that wears the crown, my friend. And Theo Vaughn wants to put that baby on and chop that other one off. But that's just my guess. Let's watch and see. Tell me what you think.
Theo Vaughn just had Donald Trump on his podcast this past weekend.
Crazy.
Just days after interviewing Bernie Sanders on the same platform.
Do you like Bernie? Are you friends with him or something?
No, I met him the other day.
Was that the first time?
It was the first time.
Were you impressed by him?
Yeah.
One thing, he's still sharp, right?
Oh, yeah, he's still sharp.
He doesn't suffer from what Biden did.
No.
Mental dullness.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
mentally gone.
Biden is
mentally
like,
gone.
you know, somebody put a merry-go-round in his head, I heard, but they didn't plug it in. They didn't tell him.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Do you see why people like him?
I mean, don't you think we could use a Theo Vaughn, like, you know, big public podcaster, like just Theo Vaughn, the media source, you know, this giant force in the media. Don't you think the world could use a little Theo Vaughn? Like, think about it. He's an everyday guy. You know what I mean? It's just an everyday guy. And whatever he's thinking is hilarious at all times. I think, man, it would lighten up the world. It would lighten up the world. Joe Rogan is turning into Rush Limbaugh. You know, even though, like, I'm hoping for some redemption. I got a little glimpse of the old Joe Rogan yesterday, and I got excited, but it just, here's the thing. Whatever Joe Rogan is, it probably never come back. You know, I'm sitting here crying real hard on my pillow at night, Rogan, like that. You know what I mean? And he's just never coming back. It's like the ex I had 15 years ago, you know? What happened? You know what I mean? It's just never happening again. And I don't know how I feel about it. I'm not okay with it. I've had a couple breakdowns and so on, but that's just how it is. You know, when you get hurt emotionally, sometimes, you know, you got to curl up to a Tony Braxton thing and like, oh, break my heart. But let me have a sip of coffee here real quick. A little break. Let's continue on through here now.
He's very disarming. He gets up there and he says whatever the hell he wants.
Doesn't seem like he's by the book. That was a thing.
He is not by the book.
Right. And so that's something the same as you. It's like, it feels like they're speaking for themselves. Whether you agree with maybe what they believe what they're saying. And that, I think, comes through.
I think you're right.
Clearly to people.
I think, you know, he's certainly unusual. Gets up there and he rants and he does his thing, and he's not necessarily, I'm sure his advisors go crazy. But he's not, you know, he doesn't have 14.
Kid Rock is one of his advisors, you know?
Kid Rock is
It's really, you know, like, we can like the characters of politicians, and, you know, Donald Trump's amusing and stuff. Kamala Harris is, you know, a replacement, and that is what it is, you know. And it is, I mean, there's people that buy into these people, and I'm sitting there like, you know, like, you look at Kamala, right? That's the crazy one for me. We're not going to talk about her politically or anything. We're going to state a fact, right? The thing that bewilders me still, that people just haven't caught on, is Kamala saying, I'm going to do this when I get in office. I'm going to do this. This is going to change. This is going to change. And I just go like, well, you are in office and you're not doing those things. And like, people don't see that she's just straight up lying to y'all. You know, and it's the same from Trump. They both empty all these problems. We could see what they done in office because they both been in office. I don't know why people still believe in government, man. You know, this world's too crazy for me. The way this world is run, it's just like power on top. I'm just baffled by it. I'm just here, man, just trying to make it through, man. But sometimes it's a head game, you know, and man, it's just too much to think about.
He's terrific. He came to the convention and he knocked everybody out. He's a great guy. He's just a great guy. He's popular, very popular.
Oh, he's he's a real dirt serpent too, dude. He's a freaking legend, you know? He's a legend.
He is a legend,
Yeah.
I guess, in a true sense.
Donald Trump's
guess,
episode
man.
of this past weekend was
I'm just like, I'm not on this Republican or Democrat train. So when you start to tell me like Kid Rock's a fucking legend for what, ball to bang, boogie woogie, you know, really? There's so many people I could think of that you could call a legend, you know, like a quarter of a song better than that. Where, like, people, like, what are we buying into? Everything's just a fucking show. You know, one thing Donald Trump does really well is he knows it's a show and he gives you exactly that times 10. You know, and you know, politics is entertainment, because really, do we think the smartest and brightest, you know, you just look at Nancy Pelosi or that guy, Lindsey Graham, right? You're telling me those are the smartest people. Those are the people, you know, I just don't know. This is why I can't do politics, man. I just can't believe it. I can't believe people are falling for this shit.
little under an hour long, and of course, a good chunk of time was spent discussing the UFC, which both Theo Von and Donald Trump are known to be huge fans of, and even share a few memories from a
All right, I gotta say, man, Theo Von, this is very sneaky from Theo Von. Like, really, really sneaky. This is very sneaky. This is, you know, Theo Von's coming for the crown. I'm just saying, it could be a conspiracy theory. Maybe I've been listening and watching too much Joe Rogan stuff for researching things, you know, and I got my tinfoil hat on. But I think Theo's making a power move. You know why Theo's making a power move? It's because he knows Joe Rogan, that the idol of Joe Rogan is starting to crack and crumble. And Theo made it on his own he went on Rogan after he was successful, you know? And I think Theo is just like, your time is done. Your time is done. I'm here for it. And I got Daddy Trump right here because you couldn't do it. I had to pick up the burden and carry it because you weren't able. And that's what I think Theo Von's doing right here. He's coming for the crown.
attending the same fights.
Sometimes we do walk-ons with Dana, and place sort of likes it.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
But
There's a
then-
video
yeah,
of us.
yeah.
I was in behind you in one video. UFC became my favorite sport during the pandemic because
Right.
Dana was brave enough to stay open. You know,
He was it. He
yeah.
was the whole ball game. He was the only sport, and he'd open up in arenas with nothing other than very good fighters.
Yeah.
And they would be fighting. He had some of the best fights during the pandemic.
Yeah,
But he
it
would
was
do that.
exceptional. There it is, right there. See, look,
Oh,
there
yeah.
you are, and I'm right behind you there,
Oh,
slapping with
wow,
that hat on,
yeah.
the white guy in
Oh,
the
that's
hat.
great. That's right. The white guy in the hat is right. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of us there, but I was one of them for sure.
That's right.
Yeah, see, that's me right there.
Good sport, isn't it, huh?
Yeah, I'm a Dustin Poirier fan, so.
Oh, he's great. He was,
know.
boy, I tell you, he's a warrior. That last fight he had, whether you like it or not, he is a warrior.
Yeah, it felt like.
Bro, Dustin needs to retire. I'm just gonna put it out there. I know some of y'all out there thinking Dustin's gonna do. This guy had not done shit ever. He ain't won a belt. They've been sitting there saying he's the latest and greatest. He done lost to everybody that has the belt. You know, it's just like, come on, Dustin, and go make that Louisiana hot sizzle. You know, just stop playing in the UFC. I mean, like, look, I'm not gonna sit here. Oh, man, this could open a whole nother can of worms, but I'm gonna go there, and you UFC fans can get mad at me. But I'm not gonna sit there and a guy that ain't never won it and just was kind of just like a punching bag for future champions, you know, and sit there and be like, oh my God, I love this guy. I didn't like this guy. I was disappointed if I saw it. I already know who was gonna win the fight if Dustin Poirier was in it. You know, like there ain't. It's just man. Sorry.
Like he didn't get the victory, but it didn't feel like he lost.
No, he didn't lose that fight.
Donald Trump.
I'm just
has
a
done
bitter,
few other
bitter,
podcasts
jealous
before,
old man.
like
Just say it.
Full
Put it in the
Send and Kill
comments. Put
Tony,
it in there.
But
Hater.
this is really the first time a comedian has ever interviewed the former president like this. For a long time, people have been waiting on the Joe Rogan Donald Trump podcast, but in the past, Rogan has indicated that he does not think he'd get a real version of Donald Trump on JRE, but rather someone who is just using his massive platform for their own gain. However, this conversation with Theo Von.
Hey, Rogan, that's everybody, dog. That ain't just like, come on. Don't just say that about Trump. That's everybody. Everybody uses your platform for their own game. You think somebody wants to sit there and listen to another fucking Yoel Romero story or for you to tell them how Lomachenko danced ballet. His daddy said, "No, you must not take ballet. You must go." You know, like nobody wants to hear that shit again. Of course, everybody uses you. Joe Rogan, this is why you've fallen off, because you don't even know that. You don't even know that, Rogan. Theo's coming for you, man. I think, you know what? All I see is a Theo power play here. That's it. That's all I can see right now.
Might change some things. Although the episode was on the shorter side, the discussion between Theo and Trump only really got political when Theo asked specific questions regarding certain issues. Other than that, the podcast was well balanced with regular stories mixed in. And just try to tell me you can't envision this story on JRE.
Do you remember like the first fight that you ever went to, whether it was UFC or boxing or anything?
Yeah, I do. It was Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali in Madison Square Garden many, many years ago. And I think that was the first fight I went to. I always liked the boxing.
How old were you, remember?
Oh boy, I don't know. You can deduct it from what I am now, but it was a long time ago. But they were two undefeated fighters. They were both undefeated. Muhammad became a friend of mine. So did Joe, Jolton Joe. They were two great fighters. That fight was incredible. I think they had
Time goes by.
heart attacks that night. Literally heart attacks in Madison Square Garden. I think it was Madison Square Garden. The fight was so unbelievable. Two undefeated heavyweight champions of the world. There was no
Joe
UFC,
Frazier.
and there was no competition really. It was it. I remember that Muhammad wasn't allowed to fight because of lots of different things, and he was a terrific guy. Both terrific guys. Very
And they
different.
finally made it happen. They finally
And
made
they
that
made it
bout
happen. So you had two undefeated heavyweight champions fighting.
And who took you to the fight, you remember?
I went with my father and my brother Robert. No, I must have been very young. It was a long time ago, but you would never forget it. That was one of those moments.
Oh, yeah.
But no, it's literally.
Do you see what, man, do you see the Theo Von Masterclass? Do you see the Theo Von Masterclass right there? Did you see it? Because if you didn't, he just sprung it on you. Now I want to say, this is what makes a podcaster great. And these are the moments that Joe Rogan would draw out of people back in the day before he got all, you know, whatever he is. This is a moment where Donald Trump cuts the bullshit for a second and talks about a moment when he was way younger, you know, that really shaped his whole like feeling about fighting and the sport. And it's a very genuine moment. And Donald Trump opens up, and you know, man, goddamn, Theo Von's a double threat, right? He hits you with that comedy, and he's silly and his random thoughts, and then boom, he splits you wide open, just like that, and he gets you all emotional. I'm telling you, he's coming for Joe Rogan. You heard it. You heard it here. What's the date today? August 24th at 5:38 p.m., 6:38 a.m. 7. We don't know. But the time is a moment in time. That was stupid, man. What the fuck am I doing? Sometimes I get on here and when I'm talking, I do these all in one shot. I don't edit. You know, like if it's really bad, I start over. If I just sound too stupid, which you know my bar is pretty low on that one, huh? But listen, this is a moment in time where we'll look back on and be like, that was the genius of Theo.
There were like many heart attacks in the arena.
If people having too much fun, or what do you
they were
think it was
just
drugs?
having heart attacks because it was such a crazy event.
Oh, yeah.
It was so, the people were just, I know a friend of mine, the father, he had a bad heart attack. Literally, they took him out. They were taking people out.
That's an early KO.
Donald Trump also said some positive things about RFK Jr. during this podcast with Theo Von, which Joe Rogan would obviously want to address if they ever did a podcast together. If you don't know, Donald Trump recently put out a message on his Truth Social platform about Joe Rogan based on remarks that Rogan had made about RFK Jr., and we made a video about it that will be on the end screen right after this.
There was a rumor that you almost had RFK Jr. as a potential vice president.
No.
Just a rumor.
Yeah,
and
no. I like him. I've always liked him. But
I like him too. Bobby and I are friends. He's a friend of mine. I've known him for years.
He's a good man.
Yeah.
He's in there pitching. It's tough. It's a two-party system, and he's a third party. You know, it's a tough thing. He can't get registered now in New York. I see New York, and the Democrats have really opposed him vehemently. I haven't, but the Democrats have really.
This is why you stay away from politics, folk. You just see that the court system is determining, you know, a lot of things in our election, which is crazy. and people are not being able, like y'all have to put down your Democrat Republican Party sometimes, and just see, like, if they do that to one side, the other side's going to do it to the other side. Like, you're just setting up your own, I mean, you're just putting a rifle on you, right? You just put the crosshairs on you. When you do that, they're gonna come for you. You set precedent, man. It's crazy. Y'all, this is what y'all need to do that believe in politics. Y'all just need to chill the fuck out on the voting thing, right? You need to chill the fuck out on the voting thing and just let it be a thing. Just let people vote. Let people vote. And let it be decided in the voting. All the rigging and the court elections and stopping people on the ballot, that's just really unfair, because you wouldn't want that done to you, right? If we really believe in the American system, let it play out. If you believe in the American system and you think voting changes things, let it play out and let the cards fall where they may. It's just not fair, it's like, you're 18 years old and you're with your boys on the court, and it's 3 verse 3, right? And they go, we're going to play against you, and $1,000. Well, your friends beat them, right? And you're like, shit, that's easy. Let's do it. $1,000 on the court, right? You turn around, you talk to your team. All right, 1,000. You got some pressure. You turn around and your friend done substituted 2 friends, and there's Michael Jordan and Shaq on his team now. You know what I mean? Just like all this rigging, just let it play out, man. It's already been decided, in my opinion, a long time ago. So it can play out however it wants to. They already decided who's going into office. But that's a whole nother story.
Really opposed to
So
it.
you think he should be allowed to run everywhere?
Well, the laws don't allow that.
Okay.
It seems like if Joe Rogan was ever going to change his mind about having Trump on the podcast, it would either be sometime soon or years from now, when Donald Trump is not a political candidate and can openly spill some government beans. But also, there's been such a big stink made by other people wanting this podcast to happen so badly that stubborn Joe Rogan might...
All right, I'm gonna give you some insight into why I think Joe Rogan doesn't do it. Here's why. The backlash from him doing it will outweigh 1,000 times the backlash of him just not doing it. What he, like, people are like, but if he does it, it just opens it up for all of the world to shit on him. Megatent, like more than the world does presently. Like, it's just because he's gonna ask questions, and then people think he's gonna draw party lines or whatever. I don't know. Or he might say something and plant his flag in like some political dirt, and or on a side, and like, it's just, you like, honestly thinking about it now, as much as we would all like Rogan to interview Trump, kind of like when Rogan interviewed Kanye, it's so bizarre. It's just like, it's so bizarre. You don't believe it's happening, and you want to see what happens. Like, that Kanye, you're just like, that came out of left field, and you just didn't think back in the time, you just didn't think like a Kanye Rogan interview was something, right? But that's kind of what it is. And honestly, I could see why he doesn't want to do it. If from that angle, I could see why. Why would you want to just get dumped on? But on the other hand, step it up, baby. You got a job to do, and you rich. Ain't nothing that we say gonna affect you. Ain't gonna hurt your dinner plate tonight. Just go ahead, put it out there, man. Just do it. This is for history. This could be in the history books. Trump's just mad at you. Joe Rogan won't interview me. Bernie was okay. A terrible Trump, sorry.
I just never do this interview now out of principle.
Let's go to 2043. We're doing a podcast, you're 75. At 75, we look back and we look at the list of podcasters. Who are the greatest podcasters of all time? Joe Rogan at the top, GOAT. Who's the greatest this, that? And he's like, dude, but he never interviewed that guy Trump. I'm going to be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I remember listening to this episode. This guy kind of creeps me out, personally. But like, I think he made a point. That's the other thing. Like I said, like the backlash is bigger if he does interview you, because then you've given people stuff to go on. Right now, people have nothing but you didn't do it. But once you do the podcast, they could pick about each and every section of the show and like blame you for shit. But on the other hand, the way it is like, this is what I'm saying. I agree with him right here. This is like one of those things that, you know, like in pop culture, it'll be like, in this moment of time where the world is so fucked up, right? The world is so fucked up right now. We just came off of COVID and like people losing their jobs and the world being in hysteria and everyone poking each other and masking each other. And you know what I mean? It was just so crazy. And then we're in this turbulent time, especially in America. Inflation is out the fucking roof. Our country is crazy. We started 2 new fucking wars after ending a war, you know, and it's just like, everybody's like, what the fuck? Like, it's that part, America's a young country, right? That's been playing empire games, and those games are slowly catching up to them, just like it did with Rome, Greece, the Mongolian Empire, China, you know, you name it. Every empire has its day, and then it's over, right? And it feels like America's in this turbulent time where like things aren't looking so good. And there's just this election, if you believe in the voting system, that is pivotal and that can change America, right? And the most powerful media man in the world is ignoring it. And it's like, well, yeah, well, his show isn't about that. Yeah, but it's kind of too late. You had Bernie Sanders on. You had Tulsi Gabbard. You had that one guy, Andrew Yang, on. I mean, you've had lots of political candidates on, and your show's become heavily political, so you can't use that card now. Rogan's scared. Rogan's scared. Trump's going to go in there. Joe's a pussy. That's what's going to happen.
Wait, let me get this straight. The greatest podcaster of all time never interviewed Trump at a time that
it makes a point. Whether you like this guy, I mean, I'm not a fan of him, but he makes a great point.
Not? It had to be personal. It had to be this. So to me, I think the guy that's going to interview him in a way that nobody else is going to interview him, you're going to ask some questions that you want to know about. Like, you know, hey, what happened with JFK? Are we really going to find out? Can you commit to us? Are you going to come out with the files or
Lord,
no?
Please,
so I really want to know. Last time you said you did, but you only gave us 80%.
Already.
Get the other 20%. Aliens. What the hell is going on with these aliens? Are we going to know or no? Can you give us a glimpse?
I don't know about y'all, but you know, I get the fascination of aliens, right? I get the fascination of aliens. I get like wanting, but to me, I've had an experience where I might have seen a UFO. Personally, I believe there's other life forms out there. I mean, somebody didn't create the universe just for us stupid humans. You know what I mean? And there was one time, like when I was 20 something, that I saw something in the sky, and I pulled over the side of the road. I was on a phone call with my mom, and I just saw this big wall of red lights. It just stood there. And then I was talking like, oh my God, yeah, oh my God. And then it just disappeared. That's it. But as far as aliens and like going after them and trying, you know, I feel if I want to meet an alien, man, I want it to be like a 1980s movie, you know, like Space Invaders or something. You know, I want it to be really, really cool, or I want it to be a surprise, you know, like, I mean, if it happened, it'd totally be a surprise, but you know, not like, oh, we were looking for aliens and we found them here, you know, no, I want it to be like, hey, what the fuck is this? You know, I want it to be that. That's why, you know, like the alien talk, it's not that interesting to me, because, you know, if the aliens want to come visit, I hope it's like a surprise. You know, I hope it ain't like they're dangerous. I hope they're cool, you know, because in reality, they'd probably come down on you, just, you know, but that's how I want to meet aliens.
Do you think we should know?
I don't think he'd tell you anything about that.
But what I'm saying,
I think that would be a waste of time.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is whatever angles you choose to take,
right?
Okay, it's your show. You get to take whatever angles you want to take. I think it'd be very weird.
Joe Rogan is not happy about this. You could tell this. Oh man, I bet this guy doesn't get invited back on again.
To look back, there's going to be no mainstream media 20 years from now. You know that. I know that. To look back and say Joe never interviewed Trump, that's kind of weird. So that's my pitch to you.
Good. I like weird.
You like weird?
I like things that are weird.
I don't know about that. I think. Yeah.
Joe Rogan looks so pissed off. I think he caught on, but it's just like, Yeah, and on the other hand, you might not want to go on someone's podcast and call them out on like something that it seems like it's a sensitive issue for Trump or for Joe, because I don't understand. Joe's dropping the ball. That's just is what it is. I don't understand why he's not doing it. You know, and I'm not for Trump or for Kamala, right? And I want to see this happen. Like, what would happen? It is what it is. These figures have been built up to be some of the top figures in our world, and we want to see where them clash.
You know, I think one.
Why don't you interview him?
But anyway, if you're not already, please consider.
Bro, that was a little like, why don't you interview him, bitch? Shut the fuck up, motherfucker. I'm gonna kick your nuts into your teeth, bitch. That's what that was right there. God damn, Joe.
Consider subscribing to Clip World right now. This is the
Subscribe
official second channel of
to
Joke
Clip World,
which is a one-stop shop for
Joke
everything
World.
comedy related, including news, highlights, daily shorts, and other
Subscribe.
cool stuff that you'll only find out about if you press subscribe and stop lollygagging around like a damn fool.
Okay.
He's the fucking
Shit.
man, dude. If y'all ain't fucking with Joe,
Yeah, you know, subscribe to Joke World. They do all the hard work putting these videos together so a bum like me could sit here and watch them and talk shit. But to cap this off and to give you the ending, Joe Rogan's dropping the ball. I think outside of the political sphere of what you personally believe, the political sphere that you personally believe in, you know, the place you live in politically. I don't need to explain that more, do I? I was explaining it to myself. I think if we step out of that and we see this interview, I think this, like, stop looking at it as like it's going to make a Republican or Democrat. You know what I mean? Stop looking at it like that. Trust me, with Trump and Kamala Harris as the candidates, the votes have been decided already. We got two candidates that that just seem a little strange. And people know that. And then there's people that believe in these two people, and they're heavily dug in. You know, they're heavily dug in. So the votes have been decided. Now, for me, people like me that don't believe in the political system and are just sitting here watching entertainment-wise, I want the entertainment. I want to see a Trump Rogan interview. I want to see what happens. It's entertaining, right? Just like Theo Von. But if Rogan doesn't do this, Theo Von is going to take the crown. I think it is. As far as Theo Von, he is making a move. He's saying, I could be successful without you, Mr. Rogan. I could be successful without you. And you know what? I could do a better motherfucking job than you can at the job that you got number one at. Right? That's what he's doing. And so now we will watch. Where will Theo Von be? Will Theo Von take the ground? And will Joe Rogan be on his knees? Hi, Theo. Or Daddy.